What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. We are back in the touring cars once again. We are at the Mid-Ohio circuit for this one. Not one of my most well-known circuits, it must be said. It's not one I've really encountered before this game. And that's showing here in our opening qualifying attempts here. We end up being very, very wide through the first turn. Not quite sure of the braking marker here. Figured out it's closer to the 100 than it is actually to the 50 as we discover to our peril here, and we slide straight off the track. Coming through turn one on our second qualifying attempt, we dip two wheels into the grass. That just pulls us over the white line, invalidates that lap. So we will jump to our third and final qualifying lap here. We're going to take turn one very cautiously so we can make sure that we make it through here without heading into the grass. Braking closer to the 100 board on turn two. We get in and round the second corner rather to make sure that we actually can carry on the lap, but we do get on the throttle a bit too early and we do drift wide a little bit. As you can see on the tune here, there was quite a lot of lift off oversteer in this build. I don't know whether it's the colder weather because the fog or whatever, but yeah, it just wasn't feeling very good. So we got a 134 for our first attempt. I fiddled with the numbers. We get a 33.5. Going around again here, just getting used to the circuit and the tune, we find a second through our second practice attempt, and that ends up being a 31.7. I still think there's a bit more time going on, so halfway through the lap here we end up 8/10 up, but we do invalidate the lap, so we bail out on that one before the race. So with our poor qualifying times, we ended up with P16 out of 21. Reason I went straight into qualifying is it did look like it was potentially going to start raining, so I wanted to make sure I got time in the dry rather than in the wets. So starting here, P16, we get away, nice start here. We are behind the Audi. We have a look to potentially go around the outside of turn one, but not really somewhere I want to be for a turn one. And in Forza, as you can see why, Civic there on the inside just forgets to brake or something and careens back into the other one. So we've made up a couple of positions. There's another person having an incident on the left. We've got an Audi rejoining very deep on the right hand side from the grass, so we are up to P14 after turn one. The Astra on our left goes very wide, as does another car. The Audi is pushed wide late on the throttle out of that corner there, so we are now up to P10 by the end of turn two. So a pretty solid start to this one here. Breaking down into turn two at the beginning of the second lap, got Golf running very wide, puts a couple of wheels onto the dirt. We cut up the inside here, we're up to P9. A little bit of a tap on the way through as the Golf was trying to get back onto the racing line ASAP, but we managed to carry on. Another car off on the grass on the left hand side here joins the track at a 90-degree angle, which is not ideal, causes a whole load of hassle at the top of the hill. You can see just how many cars we are fighting between here. We've got three Audis and a Civic all fighting over the same bit of track. We've also got the Golf that we passed in turn two having a look behind us as well. The two Audis come together in front of us, leaves a gap open on the inside of that corner, so we dart ourselves through there. We get enough drive off of the corner to get that place done. Coming through into the final complex, they brake very early coming through here for this relatively quick left-hander. Braking down into the hairpin before going back to the start to finish straight. The Audi behind us looked up the inside but was carrying too much speed, understeers off, holds it on the road but does lose a position to the Golf. We look up the outside of the Audi coming through across the line here. He boxes us out, pushes us onto the grass, so we have to lift and wait on that one. So we just tuck in behind it here, see if we can get something going down into turn two, but we get on the throttle a little bit too early on that one. We drift wide as we did in qualifying, and we ended up putting two wheels onto the dirt. That lost us all forms of grip, and we ended up now spinning into the wall down to P15. Two cars racing up behind us. I know they've missed their braking point by a massive amount, so we just wait for them to do whatever they're going to be doing, and we just slide up the inside here to get those two positions back on corner exit. The black and yellow Civic to our right hand side. It's going to be a bit of a drag race for us coming down into the next corner. I'm trying to pick up a little bit of slipstream from the one in front. We do manage to get ahead. We pull to the inside of the track to cover the inside of the next apex, and we managed to hold on to a P15. Another car rejoining from the left hand side here at a near 90-degree angle to the road. Manages to avoid any form of contact, but we are going to be in a scrap between these two Civics in front. They were very slow going through that corner. We have a look to see if we can get around maybe the outside here. We bail out on that one. We cut back to the inside. We bail out on that one as we see the guy in front of us. How he was attempting to make that corner would have just been a collision, so we just bail out and make sure we get through that. Okay, so a little bit of a breather now. Just going to be sticking close to these two Civics. You can see they are fighting hard to see if we can take advantage of any scrap here. Like we did with the Audi, there's a gap on the inside, we dart ourselves in there, hold the apex on the inside, we leave gap on the left hand side coming through the sweeper to the final corner, but it's not enough. We do manage to get P14 done and make up an additional one with someone pitting early, presumably starting on softs and finishing the race on hards. The Civic ahead of us through turn 1 carries a little bit too much speed. We almost have a repeat of turn 1 incident from a lap beforehand, but we managed to keep hold of it. We look up the inside coming into turn 2, break it nice and early, but the Civic decides that he just wants to try and drive through us into the corner, so we end up knocked into the infield. Not the best of rejoins there. I was desperately trying to not rejoin there. You can see my wheel had full left hand lock, but with the grass there was no grip for me to keep going, so we do end up rejoining, causing a little bit of commotion down to P17. Not quite sure what happens with the Astra behind me there. I was holding my line, he just decides to sweep from the left to the right hand side, but decides to just drive into the back of me in the process. So we do hold on to P17. We get a lot better drive through the sweepers here than the Civic does in front of us. We carry a bit more speed coming down the hill. He's a bit slower through this section than I was expecting him to be. We are closer to the apex, looking to see if we can maybe get a move done up the inside here as we did the couple of laps ago with the Audi, but he brakes a lot earlier than I was expecting, going a lot slower through that corner than I can, so we have to bail out of that one here. So we are up to P16, and then we're looking to see coming across the line here, we've got much better drive, and then the Audi and the Civic in front of us coming across the line, so we're up the inside through turn 1. We've got the Civic on the outside who decided to throw it around there and see if it could stick. We are 3 wide coming down into turn 2 here. We brake just past the 100, about the 75 metre mark. We let them squabble because we could see that we weren't going to be able to cut back or get anything. We get a little tap from the Audi behind us who wasn't expecting us to be as slow as we were through the corner. We have a look onto corner exit here on the right hand side of the yellow Audi, who comes across and gives us a little bit of door banging. I'm not sure if he's trying to be hard racing or if he is just trying to push me off the track. You're not really sure with Forza with a lot of stuff. Audi goes very, very late trying to squeeze his way through there and ends up driving straight off into the grass. That causes me to miss my braking point and effectively my stopping distance is extended. Catch the rear corner of the Civic in front, but he manages to carry on, no real issues. We get a little bit out of shape from the corner. We are now under pressure from this Audi. We give him room on the cutback and he just gives us no room on the inside of the track. Puts himself in our rear quarter, pit manoeuvres us into the barrier. So we're now back down to P17. So we've had a lot of movement so far this race. We started in 16, we got all the way up to 8th, and now we're back down in 17th through a series of incidents. Rather than trying to find my way through that group of people, I absolutely yeet it into the pit lane to see if we can get an early pit stop. It's a bit too early with 7 laps left to get the mediums to last the entire race, so I go conservative and put in a set of hards to see if we can just outlast the attrition of this race, as there does seem to be a lot of incidents happening at the moment. Not the best of racing standards, even though this is an S tier lobby. So we make up a few positions here. We came out P19, we have a Civic off on the left hand side there, gets us P18, and then coming around into the left hander to cross the line we have someone going very deep on the brake there, and that gets us up to a P17. We've got our Audi recovering, that gets us P15. We had made up P16 in the pit lane as well. We've got more incidents happening here. Someone went very deep into the infield by the looks of it, rejoining, so they were ghosted. We're now all the way back up to P13 after our pit stop. It's right around the sort of crossover time for people who started on potentially hards looking to go to finish on softs, and I think we've got a couple of front guys on who are doing the mediums that we are just coming up to now, like this Golf behind us. He ends up getting quite a good finishing position in this race, and as you can see, the way he gets that is just by bullying me out the way. If you are faster, don't just try and drive through people because you think you're owed it. You have to pass everyone like everyone else does. So this guy hits me about 8 times over the course of about 4 corners to try and just bully his way through to get back to where he thinks he should be, because he was running at the front before his pit stop. So just because you pit from a good position doesn't necessarily mean you're entitled to that position. So a bit frustrated coming through this bit here. We do run a bit deep coming through the final complex, lose a couple of positions. We just gun the throttle to get back in the right direction, and we end up dropping from 12th to 15th. We've got caught up to another collection of cars here, a couple of Civics and an Audi having a bit of an argument. So I guess I say this is very not abusive, but just a very aggressive lobby. There's a lot of aggressive drivers in this lobby here, where it's all about bashing and contact. So someone has a couple of digs at us coming through turn 1 here. Apparently the line for turn 1 now is to just drive through the exit of the pit lane. So I was pretty sure on other circuits where I've seen people do that, you end up with a penalty. So I'm not quite sure what's going on there. No one seemed to really get any form of penalty from driving through pit exit there rather than taking the turn as they should. But anyway, we've made up a couple of positions here. We're up to P14. The Eagle Idleman, you may have just noticed the Audi that just went absolute turbonuclear into the wall at the end of the back straight in the rear view mirror. So good job if you spotted that one. We make a position up here to P13. We're coming into the last section of the lap here. It's the hairpin and the left-hander across the line. I get a bit too greedy on the brakes here, trying to see if I could sling it around the outside. We lock up, slide off the track, and we end up dropping back down to P14 where we were beforehand. No worry with P15 as they are 16 seconds behind us, so we're just going to bring this home here for P14. So bit of a mixed one this race. Started P16 after a not very good qualifying. We made all the way up to 8th just by being calm, but we ended up getting knocked all the way back down to 17th, 19th with a pit stop and bringing it back to 14th. So yeah, fun race. I enjoyed it. There was a lot of action going on, but yeah, the result's not quite where I was expecting and not where I thought my speed would have got me. But anyway, if you enjoyed it, guys, do leave a like, leave me a comment, let me know how you felt, if you like it, if you didn't like it. Obviously subscribe if you enjoy my content, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Cheers.